What up? It's Jimmy from odds.com. This is a clip from our big NCAA football bowl extravaganza, and we are running white hot right now. We break down the 8 games on January 1st and January 2nd, the 8 bowl games. To watch the entire show, hit the link at the bottom of the screen. It's available exclusively on odds.com. Let's roll. We move on to the Rose Bowl. 4 p.m. Eastern. Perfect timing because we get to start with DJ Big Boss. Number 4 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish, 10-1 on the season, and number 1 Alabama Crimson Tide, 11-0. AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. Let's see what we are dealing with here. Alabama opens up as 19.5-point favorites. That's now 20. Its total opened up at 65.5. It's still pretty much there at most books, but there are some 66s. After winning 10 straight to start the season, the Irish came back to earth in the 34-10 loss in the ACC championship game. Notre Dame gains 455.3 yards per game, scores 35.2 points per game, led by senior quarterback Ian Book, who completed 64% of his passes for 2,601 yards, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He also ran for 430 yards and 8 touchdowns. His favorite target, Javon McKinley, caught 40 passes for 697 yards and 3 touchdowns. Their sophomore, Karen Williams, excellent this year, running for 1,061 yards, 12 touchdowns. Notre Dame's defense allows just 18.6 points and 335.1 yards per game. Star defensive back Kyle Hamilton injured his ankle in the ACC title game, and Brian Kelly expects him to be ready to go for this. Alabama looked more and more dominant as the season went on before kind of slipping past Florida in the ACC championship game, 52-46. They were up 35-17 at the half. Their average margin of victory was 30.2 points this year. On offense, they scored 49.7 points, 543.9 yards they gained. Junior Mac Jones completed 76.5% of his passes. That's a spectacular number. 3,739 yards, 32 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. After losing wide receiver Jalen Waddle to injury early in the season, Devonta Smith became the target for Jones. 98 catches, 1,511 yards, 17 touchdowns. Najee Harris ran for 1,262 yards, 24 touchdowns. Offensive lineman Landon Dickerson injured his knee during the SEC title game. He's already undergone surgery. He's unavailable. On defense, they allowed just 19.5 points, 351.2 yards a game. Their defense is led by sophomore Christian Harris, who had 68 tackles, 45 sacks. And defensive lineman LeBron Ray's an elbow injury. He hasn't returned to practice. It's not too big of a loss. All right, DJ Big Boss in your Notre Dame shirt, take it away.
Man, this is I really don't want to bet this game at all. I don't have a real angle in this one. It's a bloodbath. I mean, it's so many different ways you could look at this game, and I've been hearing stuff there. It's just so many different ways. The way I see it though is it's gonna come down to coaching. Same thing like when Kelly went against Dabo. Kelly is meticulous into studying and all that kind of stuff. No way that he goes in the game against Saban for the second time and make the same mistakes that he made in the first time. That's not what he does. So with that, I do lean towards the side of a lot of people saying that, hey, Notre Dame should be able to cover this 19 points. But if you look at the other side of the field, hey, we couldn't cover that amount of points with Clemson, and Alabama's a far greater team than Clemson. So the 19 points may be a little short. You know what I mean? The last time we lost to them, we lost big time to Alabama. And we still have the whole factor of when we got thrashed by Alabama, we was just simply outclassed. Like our education requirements would not let us to have the animals we need to play against that team. So this game is a little different because Kelly's classed up a little bit. He showed when he beat Clemson. So it's a big opportunity that Kelly could come in this game, control the ball, play chess with Saban, and keep the game score low, and also cover in keeping it low. I mean, Kelly's main objective is trying to get Notre Dame plus 7 points in the fourth quarter. That's where he tries to do. So, but I don't know this Alabama team. I had this Alabama team to win the whole thing. So they're way explosive. They're hungry. They're responding. Like, they're a beast. This is a good Alabama team too. You can't compare them to the team that we lost to, but this Alabama team is a beast too. So I normally I should do a fan bet in this case, take Alabama minus the points and just write it out like that. If Notre Dame wins or cover, hey, great for everybody else. But I'm gonna stay away from the side altogether. I'm gonna stay away from betting any of my hard-earned money on this period. But for the contest, give me the under. I think this is gonna be a chess match between the coaches. And last time with Dabo, it was a chess match as well, but that game went to overtime, and that's probably why the number's so high. So I'll give it to like 56, 58, but 65 is too high.
That's a very interesting take. 65.5. Some of the offshores have gone to 66. None of the licensed books have. Under 65.5. We can get you at the minimal juice minus 105 at BetMGM. We have Big Boss on the under. Let's head up to John Ryan here. Rose Bowl, take it away.
I've been studying this game probably the most of any of the games other than the other semifinal, which we'll take up next. But did you know that double-digit favorites have earned a 4-0 straight-up record and 3-1 against the spread, with Alabama being 3 of those 4 games in college football playoff history? And the only time they failed to cover the spread as a 13.5-point favorite was in the 28 edition of semifinal 45-34 win over the Oklahoma Sooners. And if you look at the Oklahoma Sooners, and I know we're not talking about them, but they've had bad luck in making the Final Four. Last year, semifinal game with LSU destroying Oklahoma, 63-28. They easily covered as 13.5-point favorites. The last time Notre Dame won a national championship was in 1988, which to me was hard. Like, I thought about it. I was like, is my data right? It didn't seem. Wouldn't have expected it to have been that long. That was under the legend Lou Holtz, and the Heisman Trophy winner that year was Barry Sanders. So we're going back, to when I was a child. So this is motivational for Brian Kelly and bulletin board material for his troops, and to forget about the media saying that they have no chance and da and Alabama's this and Alabama's that. So on that side, I can see Notre Dame hanging in there for a while. But at the same time, it's unbelievably hard to imagine a straight up upset win. And when you have these playoff games like in the NFL and semifinal games, if you identify the winner of the game straight up, you also probably cover. The exception is the Kansas City Chiefs this year, who have won 8 games and lost 8 in a row to the spread. Let's see right here how I have this. There have been double-digit upsets, as we talked about with the LSU. I hate bringing it up, but that was one of the ones that was the biggest money line win I had all year. But it happens frequently, and I don't think people realize how often a 19.5-point underdog wins straight up in college football. So since 1980, there have been 74 games where this has occurred. The last game that this occurred was the LSU game. It's 23.5-point favorites against Florida. And realistically, that's going out on a limb saying that a team is going to do it. So don't be all that surprised if Notre Dame, comes into this game and catches a few breaks. And, that ball's not round. It bounces funny, and strange things can happen. However, I am on Alabama, and it's a strong play. And I think this is going to be more like a 52-20 route. You can't really say route because they're favored by 20, but they're going to cover easily, I think. And betting on favorites between 10 and 21 points that are facing an opponent who was outrushed by 125 or more yards has earned a solid 167-93 against the spread record for 64% winning bets over the last 5 seasons. The straight-up record, which is horrible news for Notre Dame if they want to pull the upset, is 17-240. So when I see stuff like this, it's hard for me to even think that Notre Dame is going to even be in this game for a half. I think what I'm going to do, Jimmy, is I want Alabama for the first half. I want Alabama for the game.
A double up. Alabama full game -19 at -110 at Circa. I'm going to line shop for you for the best first half bet on Alabama. Let's head down to Big Ragu. Rose Bowl, take it away.
Hey, Kelly's one of the good guys in the game, man. So I'm going to be sentimental for DJ, and I'm going to hope that Brian Kelly gets the win not because he's just a good guy, but just for my guy DJ also. But it's a long shot, but we know, hey, it can happen. And hopefully, we got a little bit of Heisman jinx working your way, DJ. We'll see what happens. But
yeah,
as far as the game goes in itself, what does Notre Dame do really well? They're one of the tops in the country at controlling the clock. Are they playing Alabama every week? No. But Alabama has some deficiencies on third down. So even though it doesn't show in the score because they have, 3 Heisman Trophy candidates on the other side of the ball, but their defense is susceptible. We've seen it happen multiple occasions this year. And I know Kelly's going to go into that game like you were saying, and you broke it down perfectly. He's going to try to keep that offense off the field. And he might have some success if he can keep Book, in short, third down and short. Now, in that game against Clemson, they did have some opportunities, a couple routes that Ian missed. He was holding on to the ball too long. So if he could, not necessarily, check down a little bit quicker and make those quick plays instead of trying to make the plays develop downfield, maybe hit some of those quick hitches. And I know Kelly's going to come up with a game plan for him here. And Book's final game, right? For him, the Book, we're going to close the book on Book after the game here. So I do like if I'm thinking right, I think Alabama is probably going to come out on top, but I think Notre Dame will keep it close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be an under. I think it's a dead under. I think that's the play I'm going to make is under the total here. I just like it too much. I'm going to be cheering for Notre Dame to win the game because I hope the Heisman jinx comes a little bit early. And then maybe, just maybe, we'll get that third round heavyweight championship back on Clemson, Notre Dame in the championship. How would that play out for you?
Ooh, that would be a 2021 gift.
Yeah, man. But anyways, I really like the under a lot here. I think we're going to put the onus on Alabama's defense and keep Book in check. We know that Notre Dame is stingy on defense, man, and I think a lot of people are looking past it because it's Bama. And you know what? I'm going to take Notre Dame in the first half and take the under is my play on this game.
Wow. Unbelievable. Okay, I'm going to add that.
I know everybody all year has been Bama first half. Well, guess what? We're going Notre Dame first half. I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for that one, but that's okay.
Wow. Well, against Florida, Bama covered the first half. Didn't cover the full game.
Yeah, they've been in some shootouts, but this is not the defense they're going up against here is for real, and it's going to put Bama to the test. Maybe a little tougher test than they faced all year as far as defense go. More like a Georgia type of a defense.
Wow. Okay. Let's lock this in here. Ragu's on the under 65.5. That's at -105 at BetMGM. And he's also on the first half. And you can get a +11 at -110 at Circa Sports.
Yep, that's me.
All right. Notre Dame +11. First half. Ooh, what an interesting cap that was. First half +11 at -110.
Hey, I got one more thing to add too, Jimmy, and I'm gonna tell you from the last game against Alabama at halftime. So obviously, Brian Kelly identified his mistakes in the first half against Alabama during the game because at halftime, basically he went in there and told the players, "Protect yourself, stay safe, let's all make it home." So I'm pretty sure, and I love Big Ragu's first half. Now I might lay some money right there. If I gotta lay some blue and gold, I think I would choose the first half because no way if Kelly knew at halftime, Kelly's probably been strategizing to beat Alabama from that loss forward. So this guy got a trick bag, and we haven't did no trick plays. We haven't the last game against Clemson, it looked very suspect. Even though I said that I don't believe we the type of team that would throw the game like that, but it looked very suspect. They did nothing to try to get out of the hole and everything. And another bright thing that Notre Dame has is the first Clemson game, Book showed out. Book embraced the tension. He embraced that, and that's something he normally doesn't do. So if he happens to start off with that type of thing, and I love that first half.
Wow. Okay, we have some decisions that need to be made by John Ryan. John, do you want Alabama first half minus 10.5 at minus 115 or minus 11 at minus 110?
Minus 11.
Minus 11 at minus 110. Sorry, minus 110. That is available at Circa. Wow, this is very, very difficult. I am going to take Notre Dame team total under 21.5. That is at Bet365. That's the only license place I can find it at minus 120. So it's expensive. The team totals are expensive there. Notre Dame team total under 21.5 at minus 120 at Bet365. That is my plan of action. Very, very, very interesting breakdown from all involved. So go over it one more time. Big Boss is on the under 65.5 minus 105 at BetMGM. John Ryan is on the Alabama double up. First half minus 11, full game minus 19. Big Ragu's on the under 65.5 at minus 105. And Notre Dame first half plus 11. And I'm on Notre Dame team total under 21.5 minus 120 at Bet365. Very interesting.